Welcome to the Be Yourself at Work cast. This session, we're going to look at how to bring Be Yourself at Work to your workplace. The future workplace champions a working environment that's not just inclusive, but actively celebrates everyone's unique value. When you think about work, people who are true to their real selves and their personality thrive. They're more productive, they're happier, and they make for a more diverse workforce. But how can you bring Be Yourself at Work to life in your workplace? When you think about championing the work environment, it is about actively celebrating people's uniqueness. But when we talk about Be Yourself at Work, we're also talking about being your best self. Be Yourself at Work isn't an excuse to behave badly or to be negative or to be inappropriate. It's about really understanding what really makes people themselves, their values, their positive character, so that they can really feel that they can be them. And at the same time, creating an environment that's naturally more productive. That actually champions a workplace culture that really celebrates people as people. So there's three aspects that I'd like to explore within this podcast. The first thing I want to do is look at culture and the workplace culture and environment that really amplifies and supports being yourself at work. We can't talk about culture and Be Yourself at Work without looking at leadership and managers and how you really think about training and developing those people, those really important people within your organization to really be the best of themselves, but also to bring out the best in others. And then finally, it's about the individual. It's about you. It's about every single one of us really, really reflecting on what makes us, what we need to do to as individuals to really be us where we work. So let's have a look at culture, first of all. So we talk about an inclusive environment, don't we? But actually, what we're really talking about here is uniqueness. It's a culture that really can lead a workplace revolution by really being more accepting, celebrating differences, championing people's values, having clarity around what makes people unique, and then using those unique individuals to make up brilliant teams. Traditional workplace culture can be divisive, it can be formal and hierarchical. This can encourage a dominance of process, of logic, of conformity. We talk about, not using potentially the terms employer and employee, because what that does is it creates a distance between an individual and a team and the organization that they work for. But actually, culture and where you work is just about people. It's just made up of a group of people. And so the more that we can close that gap between individual self and workplace, the better when we look at the results that you can achieve when you bring Be Yourself at Work to where you work. And there are questions to ask. If you're in the world of learning and development, you're a CEO, or you're in HR, there are questions that you could ask yourself and your organization to kickstart bringing to life Be Yourself at Work in your workplace. And let me share some of them. The first question to ask really is do you embrace difference where you work? The only way organizations can create diverse and dynamic workforces is if they embrace differences. Does your workplace do this? And do they do it for everyone? Okay. Or do you try and clone everyone the same? How are you using the values of the organization that you work with? Are you pigeonholing people into them? Are you encouraging a certain specific behavior, or are you embracing difference? The second question to ask yourself and to reflect on is actually, does where you work inspire a safe place for individuality? Listen and read the communication where you work. Have a look at some of the ways that you express yourselves with each other and the ways that the organization communicates. Is it inspiring a safe space for individuality? Embracing character means encouraging ideas, personalities that sometimes can go against the grain. And one of the things that you can ask yourself initially around your culture is what reactions are present when personalities do go against the grain, how free are people to say what they are imagining and thinking? And it doesn't mean that we have to accept what everybody's reactions or ideas are, but what are the reactions? So are you able as an organization to be able to express yourselves, even if it doesn't go anywhere, with the feeling of safety? Are people able to really share their thinking and their ideas? Another good question to ask yourself about culture is, how integrated is the equality, diversity, equity, and inclusion agenda and activity? Is it a separate and segregated aspect that you focus on? So support for underrepresented groups, or is it a core cultural behaviour representing everyone? The latter, so integrating core cultural behaviour, is a really good place to start. It's where you want to aim for when you think about culture and be yourself at work. How many psychometrics and how much pigeonholing are in place? Is authenticity spoken about? Are people characterized by colors, letters, or categories? This is diversive when we look at being yourself at work. And as organizations, as an organization, is your leadership team, diverse? And I'm not looking at this through the lens of social mobility or LGBTQI plus, ethnicity, race, gender, all of those. As positive characters, are the leadership team unique? Do they let individual skills and personalities shine? It's a different way of looking at diversity. It's about values, it's about character, irrelevant of social status or, orientation or background or race or gender. How are you looking at leadership team diversity? So culture is a really good place to start, to challenge yourself on the kind of culture that can really embrace being yourself at work. And I'd really encourage you, as you reflect on this Be Yourself at Work, has to really challenge your openness to innovation when you think about culture. It feels like so much of cultural thinking is almost kind of old-fashioned now. We tend to stick to the tried and tested. Think about it differently. Think about it in a human way and challenge yourself on how much pigeonholing and psychometrics and championing you are doing of differences and diversity to kind of create that safe environment where positive personalities, even if they're different, can shine. So let's look at leadership managers. I want to really kind of get you thinking about your leaders and your managers as unique characters. Imagine where you can have a situation where these people that have such a huge influence on what it feels like to be in your organization and what it feels like to really make a difference, how unique they are. Because if you can create leaders and managers that are unique characters as their best selves, they will bring out the best in everyone and create a team environment where everyone is safe and confident to be themselves. When everyone can be themselves at work, we can build a happier and more productive society. People work for their leader or manager. The positive characters of these people in your organization are vital to championing relationships that bring to life Be Yourself at Work in your workplace. So firstly, forget the traditional back to basics approach. In a world where people want more than a job, they want to belong, be themselves and make a difference. And thriving in the workplace is more important than ever before. When we understand and nurture the real people, the leaders and managers as their true selves, they can have dynamic, they can have careers that are really fulfilling, that play to their strengths, and make themselves and others happier. So helping these individuals uncover their true values and purpose enables them to increase their zeal and productivity. So you can help them think about how you can help them to embrace and celebrate their own difference and uniqueness, but also everyone else's. So, the fact that we want more than a job, we want to belong, we want to be included, we want to be ourselves. You can activate this in your leaders and managers and then teach them how to give freedom to their teams. So each individual needs a space to be themselves. As long as they're competent, live positively within the inclusive culture, they align to the purpose of the organization and what they do, they deliver, how they go about their work should align to them, their character, their skills, their unique difference. So 4 things to really think about. Number 1, help your leaders and managers coach and advise to bring great performance and competence. Okay, so get them coaching. Second point, really clearly look at defining what the inclusive culture you want to create that you represent. Make it really clear, whether it's your company values, whether it's just generally your behaviors that you want to encourage. Define it as clearly as possible and make super clear the purpose of the organization, the team, the individual role, and then support, encourage, and help people to experience what goes well because of who they are. Give them the freedom to be them. Create unique managers and leaders that are being their best selves authentically, and that will help them to bring out the best in others and create that super powerful environment that just feels open where people can be them. It's exciting. So we can't talk about bringing Be Yourself at work to your workplace without talking about you, because we often forget that actually our workplace is just made up of individuals, and all of us play a key part in that culture. And it can be one person, even just one person, that can really make a difference to what it feels like in an organization and where you work. So talking about you, bringing you as an individual to your work and your world is super important. And being you means understanding your true self so that you can really enjoy the fulfillment, but also the productivity that comes with living and working according to your true values. So ask yourself, what defines who you are? You're not your job role, you're not what others say about you or your self-doubts, ethnicity, race, gender, or an underrepresented group. And it's easy to use these labels and our experience or our heritage to define who we are. But actually, creating a workplace that celebrates everyone's sort of authentic values starts with you being yourself. So who are you? Well, you're a unique character, who you think you are, your self-concept. You've got this inner consciousness, this inner voice and energy. You've got principles and standards of behavior. These are your values, and your values are what you believe to be important in the way that you live and work. And we look at measuring this over time. You're always going to be you. You're always going to feel like you. Your essence never changes. Okay, so focus on understanding how to know your values and know you. Know your I ams. When you think about, I'm kind, I'm giving, I'm logical, I'm thoughtful. Define yourself. What is it that makes you you? What are your I ams? So that you can be you and bring to life, be yourself at work in your workplace as you. And you can read more about values and I am on the Be Yourself at Work I am pages. So when you step back and think about how to bring Be Yourself at Work into your workplace and your organization, think about culture. Think about less pigeonholing, less psychometrics, the diversity of your leaders, how much you are pushing people to be and behave a certain way, rather than having the freedom to be themselves, but talking about best self positively. Really focus on your leaders and managers. Create unique characters that are being their best, really them, really positively them, because actually people who like the people they work with and for, they won't want to leave. Your engagement scores will go up, your attrition will go down. Making and creating really powerful, unique characters that are really being themselves is one of the best places to start, because it has a huge ripple effect. And then, don't remove yourself from the process. You and everybody in your organization needs to understand who they are, and also have the confidence to be them. So there are other Be Yourself at Work casts that you can listen to on our channels and on this website to help you to reflect on confidence and how to bring more of that to the people in your workplace. But ultimately, it starts with people being able to be themselves by understanding who they are. So go and be you.